This is Haris Kruskic, BR Live's combat sports reporter, and we're here with AEW's Brian Cage. Brian, how are you?
Good, man. Doing all right. Doing all right.
That's great. We're a couple weeks out from your debut at Double or Nothing. How did it feel to finally make that debut?
Oh man, it was a long time coming. Let me tell you what. There was a lot of people that know that's I was supposed to be at the first Double or Nothing, and I was a surprise entrant in the Battle Royal. And about 90 minutes from then, I had Impact Wrestling pull me off the show, and kind of created a big debacle. And whatever. Long story short, it just didn't work out well for me. And then here we go. I'm done with my contract with them. I was signing on over here, and then I tore my bicep, and then that delayed me again. And then so Lindley, we're looking at Double or Nothing this year to debut me, and it finally happened. Third time's the charm. But then unfortunately, there still was no big surprise pop per se because we had like no fans in attendance. So wasn't exactly how I hoped it to go, but it was so fantastic nonetheless, and I was so excited to finally be here. And it's been my short time here has been phenomenal. So.
Typically, when we see new members of the roster added, it usually takes them, maybe a couple months, a few months to really get their footing and get going. It took you one match to earn a title shot with AEW. What did that mean to you?
And that was huge. And as Tony even said too, I think post, Double or Nothing, that they believed in me, which I talked to him too, and I was worried that my contract would get rescinded due to my injury. And he's like, no, don't worry. We're going to take care of you. It's fine. We got you. So that was already like confidence enough that they wanted me part of the team and were happy to have me. But then to hear him like basically reiterate that on like the little press release after Double or Nothing, and then, essentially like, yeah, we're going to strap a rocket ship to this guy's back, like was huge. I had no idea about any of the stuff. And I'm just happy to be here and happy to be able to perform and, fully intent on delivering on everyone's expectations of me. And I feel like I've done a whole lot so far, but I feel like I have in what I've gotten to do. And there's a lot left in the tank that people are going to be in store and surprised to see.
How uncomfortable were you under all that barricade and even that huge poker chip that the other participants put over you?
It wasn't the most comfortable recliner that I've been in, but it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. I don't know too if it was worse for me or worse for Orange Cassidy with that DVD off the apron onto the pile of the rubble. I'm not sure who got the worst of that, but it was a pretty cool little moment that we had.
One thing that fans who maybe weren't familiar with you immediately noticed was your sheer size. You are a massive individual, my friend.
I do all right.
How many calories do you eat a day?
I roughly probably eat about like 4,000 now. I am always I feel like anytime I do a podcast, an interview, a convention, a whatever, I feel like I almost always had just worked out or had just finished a meal. I feel like I'm constantly training and eating, but I don't eat near as much as I did like to get to the size. There's like a unwritten like rule, if you will, that it takes like twice as much to gain and then half as much to maintain. I still eat plenty and all the time, but I don't think it's as like I'm not as like meticulous about it. Like I'm still really meticulous, but before I used to like weigh everything out to the T. Every rice, every oatmeal, every protein, every BCA pre-work. Everything. I had a scale with me 24/7. I'd measure everything out, and I would eat, make sure like to the if it was 2.5 hours, then 2 hours and 29 minutes, I'm already at the microwave warming up my meal. Like everything was on point. It's still pretty meticulous compared to normal day to day, but nowhere near to that level. And I still eat roughly 6-7 times a day, and I always get like 50 to 60 grams. See, not to two. There's a margin there. Like there's a little leeway. I usually eat like 50, 60 grams of protein per meal, and then carbs and fats will depend on what I've done for the day, what I'm doing for the day, and also when or how much I'm planning on cheating, like the next cheat meal. So if I know I'm going to have a bunch of cookies and stuff that night, then I'll kick back the carbs throughout the day so I can make room for those at night. Other than that, it's pretty good. But like I'm always eating. People are looking at me. I always have my 6-pack bag with me 24/7. It's my first full-on licensed action figure, from AEW should have. That should be my like my little entrance gear. Instead of like having a robe or something, I should have my 6-pack cooler with a little Tupperwares full of food, like I'm playing house. That'd be great.
What's your favorite cheat meal?
Anything sweets. I have a huge sweet tooth. Like, I mean, I love pizza. Everybody loves pizza, but even then, like, very rarely am I super stoked to eat like food. Um, it's always just sweets. Like, I want like fresh, warm off the oven baked cookies. I love. I can eat forever. Anything just like unique baked good. You know, cheesecakes and brownies and donuts and what have you. Like that's me. I'm a big sugar guy, and I usually can process that pretty well. I usually don't get too uh like sick or like feel like crap afterwards. If I eat a bunch, if I eat like tacos or a bunch of pizza or lasagna, like whatever, something else, it's all heavier. It really sits with me, and it's something I'm like. It's always good, but I never crave it. But like the sweets, oh yeah, I can eat sweets all day long.
What's your daily workout regimen? What does that look like?
Um, I'll at least sometimes I'll do it every single day, but at least 6 times a week, I'll do at least 90 minutes on the weights, and then 35 to 40 minutes on the stairmaster. That's like the basic, for sure. That's what's happening, and then I'll mix up with the certain stretching or functional exercise, or like kind of a uh, it's not CrossFit, but it's more just functional, like circuit training for like conditioning, just like mobile athleticism. I did start doing some DDP yoga during the quarantine, and when I had my injury and I was rehabbing from that. Um, I am super into just challenging my body any which way. Like, and I wish I had just more time and more availability, because I'm huge into like, um, jujitsu and other stuff that like, when I say this, I mean, I could do a lot of it, but I'm a big fan of it. And if I had, just free reign of my time, and, wasn't married, didn't have any kids, and I feel like I would just spend all my time and a different gym every other hour just to be doing something constantly. Cause I'm always into trying to challenge myself and learn something new when it comes to something physical. And then the more I do, the more calories I burn. The more calories burned, that means the more I have to eat, or at least the more leeway I get for eating. So,
How old were you when you got serious about working out and your diet? You remember?
yeah, I was 18. I graduated high school, the day after graduated high school, literally or the day of. Like, my PE teacher in 10th grade knew how much I wanted to be a wrestler. I was only 150 pounds. It wasn't like I was huge, the machine to begin with. And he's like, hey, I'm going to teach summer school. Would you want to come in and work out? I'll open up the gym for you. I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah. Like, I want to get, like, I'm super serious about this. I want to do it. So no matter how late I stayed up or what I did the night before, like, I mean, I'd stay up to like 3 or 4 with my friends creating mischief. I'd still get up at 7 every single day, well, at least Monday through Friday, during the summer. And I would get up and I'd eat breakfast and I'd jog to my school, which is probably about a mile from me. And then I would just kind of teach myself the weights. And then I just started falling in love with like training. And then I got really fascinated by bodybuilding and just started looking at magazines and reading it all the time. And just, eventually 12 years down the road became this version of Brian Cage.
Along with your muscles, fans also love talking about your facial hair. What was your inspiration for it?
So I hate shaving. I hate shaving so much. And initially I just had I'm a huge Wolverine fan. So I just had huge sideburns like Wolverine. And then my buddy's like, oh, it'd be cool if he did like the guy from wrestling, which is Lash LaRue, his sideburns. So I totally just like, oh, I should do that. And I rocked these. And then I even switched it to like a Tony the Tiger kind of, that's what I call them, the Tony Tiger sideburns, where it was like the point, but it was just like, there was nothing but just points. It was just like points all the way up and down. And that was so incredibly hard to maintain. And like after a couple of weeks, I was like, I can't do this. So I went back to the Lash LaRue sideburns, and I've had these for like, I don't know, I feel like I've had them for like 15 years now.
That's great. So what made you want to join AEW? I know you said it's been a long road to finally make your debut, but what was that sticking point for you when you finally decided, you know what, this is where I want to be?
Well, I mean, what they were doing is awesome. And I know All In wasn't, AEW per se, but I know that was the slow transition into it. And I was part of that, and it was just a blast. And then being there, though, backstage Double Nothing, and then just seeing all the build-up for it, it was just so amazing. And I was like, yeah, I'll be honest, I was a little bitter, and I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to partake in Double or Nothing. I was like, man, I want to be here. So there was already that. But then once my deal was coming up and people were reaching out to me, and there's pros and cons from going to every place. The few big pluses to go to AEW was I could kind of finally like finally get to be able to check that off, since I've already gotten dominated on it. But more importantly, I felt like where I was at, I'd already kind of like hit the roof, the ceiling for quite a while. And the only way to go through there would go to a bigger platform like AEW. But the difference is AEW had not the most intriguing and first time ever matches for me, but it was also a lot of first time ever matches that we would have more, creative control and input in. So I felt like overall to look at it as an artist, I felt like that had the most just variety and most to fill me up with by going to AEW.
How are you and Taz introduced to each other?
Just got a phone call from him, like maybe like 12 days I think beforehand, and I had no idea that was going on, and I just talked to Taz plenty about all kinds of stuff for several hours, and I just said this on a different interview as well about how they wanted him to be a manager, and he was back and forth on it, and he said that, okay, if I was to manage somebody, the two people I'd probably want to manage was Jeff Cobb and myself. So they're like, oh, it's perfect because we're actually wanting you to managing Brian Cage. So the fact that he said that, unbeknownst to him, that I was coming, that he was going to be my manager, was huge accolades to myself, and I felt like we've really clicked pretty well. And it's been short lived so far, but I feel like it's been great, and I feel like the best is yet to come.
So Fyter Fest coming up July 1st and July 8th. Taking on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. How are you feeling ahead of it, and how do you feel about Jon Moxley in general?
I'm feeling great, man. I know Taz has been put out some great tweets putting me over, and about how that I'll be ready. Make sure Mox is ready. I'm like, dude, I've been ready, and I'm only going to be more and more ready. People are like, see me every week, like, oh man, you look bigger this week. You look better this week. You look. I'm like, yeah, because I'm still on the comeback train. From this injury, you can see the scar right there from my surgery. So every week that goes by, I'm getting bigger. I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. Everything's improving, and my hunger is only going to keep on getting more and more and more. So every week I think it goes by makes it worse for Moxley at Fyter Fest. And Moxley's great. He's been the world champion, and he's a world champion for a reason. And as I said and I alluded to earlier, it's the first time. When I just threw him through the car window, that was the first time we ever touched. So this will be really exciting. Not only because it'll be a first time for either of us to really get our hands on each other and have a match, but Moxley's a unique individual, and definitely brings a style and demeanor that I'm not used to, that I don't think I've really ever experienced. So I think he's going to push me to a different kind of environment, kind of take me out of my own element a little bit. And it's nothing I'm worried about or that I'm stressed about. And I'm actually looking forward to the challenge until, what will happen and what we can create with it. But I'm extremely firm believer in my abilities and what I can do, and what people have no idea what I can do. And I'm hoping that come Fyter Fest, anyone who didn't know who Brian Cage was going into it and in AEW will never forget Brian Cage afterwards.
Again, you can catch Brian Cage against Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. Is it July 1st or July 8th, or do you not know yet?
July 8th.
July 8th on TNT. Be sure to watch it and tune in. And we'll see what happens. Maybe we walk out with the new AEW World Champion.
Maybe. Come on.
Brian, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it very much. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to your endeavors. And thank you again for taking the time.
No problem, man. Thank you. Sorry for the delay on everything, but hey, better late than never. And hopefully you have me again. And when you do, I'll have some extra gold going around my waist.